Hi, I'm Megan.
I'm Selena.
Welcome to One Head, Two Ducks.
A grown-up theater kids podcast.
Today we are talking about being an actor in today's world and all the things that you have to do to be considered good enough.
Oh man, Megan, what a topic. What a topic for all of our positions too. Like you as an actor. I mean, I remember a lot of the acting stuff. And then me as a director mostly right now in the process of casting. Mm-hmm. It's perfect timing to talk about this. So what has your experience been on this whole topic of having to be enough? How have you felt as an actor, especially over the years as time has gone by and things have changed? Like our expectations were different and what was expected of us were different from whenever we graduated high school till now. So how has your experience been?
One of the things that I always think about is how easy it would have been if I lived a couple decades ago and were trying to do what I'm doing. I'm sure it came with its own challenges, no cell phones, no emails, like you had to call a service or stay by your phone if your agent called.
No digital submissions. No, you had to actually print out everything.
It's true.
Mail them.
But really all you had to do was kind of focus on yourself and like be a good, honest actor, be a good singer, dance your whole heart out. Those are the things that you really had to focus on. Like, headshot resume, but it was like black and white headshot. I don't know. Phone in, guys, if in case I'm wrong, but it wasn't how it is today where the headshot has to look a certain way, the poses are certain, like you've got to make sure you get a right photographer to get your eyes just so. Some people like you smiling, some people don't like you smiling. There was a whole big thing of whether your resume goes like this or like this. The color options, the printing options, just like is it going to be glossy or not glossy? Is it going to be on hard cardstock or not? Like just a lot of things to think about that have changed over the years. Before it was like black and white and you'd print your resume on the back of it to save paper.
Yes.
And nowadays, like you have to staple it. They don't want you to print it on the back. And you really should, by the way, staple it only because your resume hopefully will be ever changing. And then you don't want to buy like $300 worth of headshots with an old resume on the back.
Yes.
So there's that.
That is true.
That's a little nice thing. But in terms of my experience, I feel like even from 7 years ago, it is changing and it's changing rapidly. So as we kind of move into this whole time of social media and TikTok and things like that, there was always this thing right when I moved to New York about not casting actors based on their social media followers. Because sure, you want someone who's going to be popular, people are going to go see them. How do you guarantee that? Oh, this person has a lot of followers on Twitter. Let's have them in the show, right?
Right.
So that was something that people bucked against a lot. But it's coming back in weird ways. It's coming back in like people asking for casting assistants to like give me your, let me see your social media and Twitter handle. Let me do this and that. You know what I mean? So it's not just actors. It's like everyone in the industry is kind of starting to feel that.
Yeah.
But, you can speak to this as well. Like just there are a lot of online submissions, and especially now there's a lot of online submissions, self-tapes. Think about like just putting a little self-tape together last minute. You just got the info this afternoon. It's got to be in by tomorrow morning. It now feels like it has to be a full-on, like full-scaled production. Like everyone's got a ring light now. You need one of these. Like you've got to like have a quality sound system. You've got to have like a very neutral background that you set up every time. You've got to be a pro at Premiere. You've got to know how to do all this kind of stuff in order to just submit a quick audition that they're probably not even going to look through the whole time. I mean,
that's true.
You as a director, you're about to do casting.
That's
Are you going to ask for self-tapes?
I actually am. I'm asking for, I went a little old school because what I'm looking for is so specific. And so for me, I am looking for online submissions because I am across the country right now, and I'm casting, you know, all the way in Florida, and I'm over here in Nevada, and so I can't be there. So what I'm looking for, and what I've been looking for with actors, is a monologue. Honestly, I just want to see you act. Yes, I want to know your information. I honestly, to be honest, I don't really care much about you yet. I know that sounds terrible because that is so opposite of me, because I do care about you. I do. I do care about you, but when I'm casting, I want to see what you can do first.
Yeah.
And then when I see what you can do first, and I'm like, okay, then I want to know more about you. And that's when we get back into the callbacks and the workshopping and all that. And that's when it's great. But whenever I first get that tape, I kind of want it to just to go. And I'm going to say I do like a little personality in the intro. The intro I do like short, like I said, but try to put as much as yourself in there so that I can see, oh, cute, she's a little bubbly, she's fun, and then go right into it. But I must say, being on this end, that it's interesting with the self-tapes and the whole online submission, because I know what you're talking about when it comes to like having to have a good production. Because you know, now I am me personally am a little bit more open-minded to know that not everybody has experience in editing, everybody has access to like the best, you know, technology, cameras, audio, and all that. So I'm a little bit more lenient when it comes to that. And mostly I'm looking for the talent, not what you can do with editing. But I will say it does distract whenever it's bad quality.
Oh, okay. Like the video quality, the sound quality, anything
and
like that.
And audio quality. Yes, it does distract, because now I have to double my focus onto you. Like, okay, what is she really trying to say? What is she really... Because all that other stuff is so distracting in a sense. Right. So what happens is whenever you have a good production, it does make me go straight to you. Which kind of sucks as the actor. Because, again, like you were saying, to be good enough, now, on top of getting the good photographer that you were just talking about, you might have to putting in a new, an editor. And all these things that you might want to add. And honestly... if you could do an editor and get a demo reel, that would be great. Yeah. You know, just a compilation of some quick things that you could do, and then get an editor and then use that for a couple of months, if not year, depending on how many times you're cast. I would definitely update it every year unless you really haven't been in anything. But yeah, like Megan, that does bring up so much, and I feel bad as an actor asking for those. I mean, as a director asking for those things, because I know on the actor side, you just want to, you know, be liked and just present yourself and just go. You just want to be liked and just, like you said, just bring your all in that moment, and then having to add all these things. Now the Instagram thing and the social media thing, personally, it is nice. I will say that it is nice to see that someone already has experience, that somebody will bring in that fandom, especially whenever you're an independent film company like I am, and you don't have that base yet. Then you know that right when your film is released, okay, I will at least have this actor and all her fans watching it. And then who knows from there, then it'll spread. It's, you know, it is nice, but at the end of the day, for me at least, I still look for talent. And that's where I guess we can talk about the good enough training that's required. Right. How have you felt when it comes to training as an actor? Do you feel like, you know, your background in acting has been enough, or do you feel like you have to add tap and dance and voiceover and all these other skills?
For sure. When you want to be in musicals in New York, especially, you have to have voice, dance, acting training. Whether or not that comes with a degree is not required. It's not required. And honestly, like there are great alternatives other than going to college and getting a degree for, theater, musical theater. Like, you could just be like, I'm going to New York. I'm going to join this acting studio. I'm going to take this voice teacher, and I'm going to work with them every week. And I'm going to go to all these dance classes. It's expensive, probably just as expensive as it would be if you went to college. Like, it's about the same.
It's true. It's true.
But now, nowadays, ever since, oh goodness, I want to say ever since the Sweeney Todd revival with Patti LuPone, is now people are kind of looking at using actors as the musicians in the show as well.
Wow.
That they, you need to play an instrument because the actors are going to be the band. That way, I mean, in a way, it's like brilliant, right? It's like a cool concept, but then it's also like,
it's cheaper.
We save money not hiring a band.
Cheaper. It is
exactly
super cheaper. I mean, it is crazy because, on the film that I'm on right now, I'm having to act a little bit as producer as well. So I'm having to look at budget, make sure that my execs are happy, and it is like you said, when you're looking at all these people that you have to hire, and then that amount keeps getting higher and higher and higher. If you're like, man, if I could just combine these two, it does make it easier, even though it's not always ideal in a sense, because what happens then is, and it's up to the director really, but are you willing to then sacrifice the acting quality for the musicianship? Because at the end of the day, humans can only do so much.
Yeah.
And we're gonna give our all to one or the other, and then partially to everything else. So it's I guess depending on the director what you really want. Me right now, I really want strong actors, so I'm not going to split them up so much into tasks, because that would be taking away from what I want. And they can't focus on the characters, if they have to focus on also, making sure I practice my instrument, making sure I practice this, make sure I get this, make sure and get my lines and it's too much. And so but at the same time, if they kind of want that whole vibe where an actor can go up, because that would be cool, honestly, if they could just be acting and then go, or like playing and you think they're the part of the band and then they just step in front and then they start acting too. That would be cool.
Yeah.
It would just
there's certainly certain shows where it works, and there'd be shows where it wouldn't work.
Yes. And honestly, maybe the balance is just more time in that workshop, more time for rehearsals, so that they can put effort in both. And then by the time you do the show, it's natural on both ends.
Right.
But then again, time is money.
So time is money.
That's if they have the budget.
That's if they have the budget. The other thing that I noticed too a lot, especially in these, excuse me.
Megan's dying.
Dying. One thing that I noticed as well, especially going to dance calls in the city, is you go to a dance call and the, choreographer or whoever's running the audition, will kind of go down the line of girls and ask, or boys, anybody, and ask, do you tumble? Which is, can you do like gymnastics level backflips and tricks and things like that, right? Which I'm so here for you if you can. If you can tumble, bless you, because that is just the hardest thing for me. I have never been able to be.
It's terrifying for me. I always feel like I'm gonna die every time I try to even think about it. I'm like, I'm not that person that can just like flip my body around my body. Like, I'm working with a lot of stuff here. I'm not very aerodynamic. So it's like, it's just not gonna, just doesn't work for me. And I always feel, I don't want to say like, I feel like I'll say it. I feel like I'm not good enough because I can't tumble sometimes. I feel like that they're looking specifically for someone who can tumble, and they're like, can you tumble? And I'm like, no. So it does feel, in the moment, it does feel sad. And one thing that I do feel that is a bit icky is in these, especially these non-union calls. Union calls too, but especially non-union calls, when they ask, can you tumble? Can you do it right now? And yes,
like, we all want a job. We all really want to be here. We really want to impress you. And if you're going to ask me, anyone, to tumble without, in front of everybody else, without the proper warm-up, without the proper padding on the floor, whatever, what have you. You're just asking them to just do it. It's a little like, it just, every time someone does do it, it scares the bejesus out of me. I am so terrified that that's going to be the moment.
You can wait for callbacks. Like, unless it's like,
or send us a video of you doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what
like,
I mean?
Unless
that
it's
works
absolutely,
too.
Are we doing Bring It On the musical? Then maybe if you're ensemble, I don't know. But like, other than that, I'm like, if it's not, because that's one thing that, I mean, I get it too. You're right, because, and I have noticed, and honestly, thank God I did start in acting. But I have noticed that most, I'm not going to say most, sorry, because if you're out there, I do love you and I do believe in you. But a lot of directors and producers don't know how to talk to actors and don't know what to say or how to get an actor to do what they want. And they think by just giving a demand or saying, hey, no, that's not right. You know, that's not how you talk to actors. And I think that in this whole, age of being good enough, I think there should be an expectation for directors. Are you good enough to not to put our britches up for the actor, but still, are you good enough to direct me? Because as an actor, I remember going out to audition. I had some terrible auditions with some terrible directors that were, even though I wanted the job, I was like, I'm willing to let that go because I can't work with that. I can't work with someone who's so disrespectful, who doesn't know how to talk to me, who belittles me the entire time and acts like that's a way to get me to open up. Like, no, boo. No. And so in this good enough, like, I think directors need to be thinking about themselves and going like, well, how am I doing? And like a check, like, I'm asking all these actors to bring all this stuff. Am I willing? I'm asking them to raise the bar. Am I going to raise the bar? Are we going to raise the bar together? Because that's how you get something phenomenal, is by raising the bar together. And I think the best, and I will say it, I think some of the best directors out there have been actors, whether that's been on a stage or at least taken a class or at least understand an actor from, the technique and the basic, like from behind the scenes, not just, I read up the actor. No. Have you done it? Because when you do it, you come with a different perspective and a different expectation. And you actually cheer on the actors instead of jump through this hoop. Now jump through this hoop. Now jump through this hoop, and there should be that respect there.
I love a director who doesn't have all the answers when they walk into a rehearsal room. You know what I mean? Like, they can have their prep work done and their blocking laid out and, kind of how this scene's going to go and that. But then, like, when you get an actor in front of you and you start, like, working on the scene together and stuff happens, I remember just once being in a room with a director and we were rehearsing a scene. And he asked me a question. He's like, wait, let me just ask you this. He's like, what would it look like if it were this? Or like, what would this happen? Right. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And he goes, I don't know either. He's like, I don't know either. Maybe just something to think about. And it was like such a cool moment for me. I was like, oh, he's not like condescendingly being like, what would it look like if you were sadder? You know what I mean? It was like, what would it look like if she felt this way?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure. I never thought of it that way. And honestly, he was like, yeah, me neither. I never thought of it either. It just popped in my head. What do you think? Like, it's great. I love that stuff.
It is great. And it shows you that you respect the actor for what they can do and what they can bring. Because yes, the director, like we talked about in our other episode, preparing for auditions. Like, I get that the director comes in and has already thought of everything. And especially in film, oh my gosh, it's exhausting, all the things you have to think about before you even come on stage. Like, where's the camera? Where's the camera going to move? Why should it move that way? All that stuff. Anyway, I get that. But one of my favorite stories is hearing about, I have two specifically, one with Johnny Depp and one with Denzel Washington and their directors. With Denzel Washington, I was just watching a Spike Lee masterclass, and it was really cool because he was talking about, it was He Got Game. And Spike Lee was talking about, in the script, he wrote it to be where the father loses to the son in this basketball game. Denzel is an avid basketball player. It's like a lot of people don't know that, but he used to play, basketball throughout college and all that stuff. And apparently when they were on set, like I said, it's supposed to be written that he's not supposed to score anything. He's supposed to lose 11-0. And all of a sudden when they're rolling, Denzel is dunking. He's like, bam, bam. And then, which is great. And then, Spike is just letting it happen, right? And the other actor is getting frustrated. But what is bringing out is that character, no, you can't beat me. And then it's bringing this new competition level that Spike said that he didn't see coming, that he didn't picture. And because he did that, he loved it and he allowed it. Similar thing to Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp with Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one. Not the other ones, but the first one, they didn't, and I say that because later on they try to manufacture it and you could feel it. You could feel the difference.
You could feel it.
But the first one, they just had Jack Sparrow going on there like a normal person. He didn't have really much of an accent and he definitely didn't have a sway. He definitely wasn't drunk the whole time. Yeah. And Johnny brought that, and he brought this new level of a character that the directors and no one saw that upped the level of the movie. It would have been kind of
really made the franchise. Would they have made more movies had that performance not been so iconic? No.
And and I loved his reasoning. And Johnny came and he said, "Well, I'm picturing this character who's been on the sea all his life. Land is uncomfortable for him, so whenever he walks, it's not that he's drunk, he literally cannot walk on land because he's used to the waving."
Yeah.
And so that's why he's constantly, whoa, hold on, this is not. And I love that. And anyway, so that's where a director, I think, needs to be the enough and say, hey, let me allow actors to bring what they can bring too. And see where we can meet, because that's where a movie, honestly, or even a show, I'll even say a show, even on Broadway, the casting is what makes or breaks a thing. You can have the best lighting, the best directing, the best script, the best everything, but if your cast is not strong, then the whole thing is just terrible, and it sucks. But that's why there has to be that level of respect for one another.
Yeah. And Broadway does love to do this thing where they get it's so funny, right? So Broadway loves to do the thing where they have this amazing cast and they like to grab a celebrity and have them come in and do like 6 weeks in one of the big parts, right? And sometimes it works out famously. And sometimes most of the time it crashes and burns because that film actor is not ready to do an 8-show week on a Broadway stage. They haven't trained their life or their voice to be able to do this. Mm-hmm. And then it's funny because then you have like regional theaters all around the country. They, have great casts. They would love any one of those Broadway actors to come and be in their show. You know what I mean? It's funny the kind of like the kind of fame, the celebrity of it, right? The celebrity of like an actual, like there's the celebrity who is a movie star, TV star. There is a celebrity who's the Broadway actor.
Yes.
So, but they're fighting each other. It feels like all the time.
And that's what and that ties into what you said before of, do I have to then be famous to even get a role? Have all this influence because, man, like it's like, do I already have to make it before I even make it?
Yeah, and it goes the same way back into like movie musicals.
Yes.
Where instead of casting Broadway people in some of the like bigger parts, they cast normal celebrities. Like if they were to do they've been talking about this for years, but if they actually did a Wicked movie musical, they're not bringing in. Now it's like too late. They're not going to bring in.
Yeah, they can't bring Kristen in or Idina.
Kristen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden there was a meme that came up that was like, oh, it's going to be Ariana Grande and...
Yeah, I saw that.
It's not real. Mm-mm. It's not real. And it would be the worst thing if it was real.
I was like, if anything, they should... Yeah, no.
It just wouldn't be good. But again, like, and now we're about to have In the Heights, which has nothing but just Broadway people. And
Yeah.
people cannot
Yeah.
wait for it. So I'm hoping that it kind of changes things a little bit to show like you don't always need to cast the most well-known faces. I mean, even look at West Side Story, the new West Side Story coming
Right.
out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's only
Yeah.
like maybe one broadly recognized face, celebrity face in there. Everybody else is kind of Broadway people.
Right. And especially in this day and age when, you know, it is more accessible to be seen. You know, back in the day, it was really like, unless you had that moment where someone stopped me in the mall and said, hey, you should be an actor. That was like the only time or, you know, you would do, you know, what they called, oh my gosh, casting season, where you would go out and then, you know, be seen by a million people. Those were the only two ways. But now with social media, with digital, with all that thing, like there's more of a chance to be seen. But then it's like, it's kind of crazy because even though there's more broad of a chance, it's like the industry is closing. They're like, oh, no, you know, like we don't want anybody. And it's like, no, wait, you need people, you need new talent. Who knows who's out there? And I get it though, on the directing side, I get it because there is a comfort. There is a comfort casting people who you know can do the job, and especially if you know them. That's why we talked about, you know, actors having their favorite directors and directors having their favorite actors. You know, Martin has Leo. You know, Spike has Denzel. There are those people that they're like, no, if I'm doing a movie, I'm using this person because they're just my people. I trust them. They know me. And we could just do this and get it knocked out. But at the same time, it limits us to what else is out there. And and that's where and it is easier because casting, who knows how long it could take so long to find the right person. So again, there's that so long. So your brain just goes, you know what? I already know that person over there. I'm just going to bring them in because I'm done. I'm done.
Well, and as a director, when you're kind of sitting with a script and you're figuring things out, you start to, like you said before, kind of have ideas of people in your head. Even if you're not going to cast them, you're like, all right, this person could be played by this. And that happens everywhere, right? That happens everywhere. And sometimes there, you know, it works out where a director's like, hey, I'm doing this show. I'd love to have you. You should audition or I'll send you a contract, whatever. But then they have to audition. And then like someone comes in who just blows their mind. It's totally possible.
Yes, it is true. It is very true.
But it's hard.
It is hard. It really is because and like you said, and I think a lot of directors, especially if they're like me, you know, we do kind of shoot ourselves in the foot because we've been looking at the script for so long, and because, especially if we wrote it, if we're a writer-director combo, oh my gosh, it is really hard for us to come out of who we already created in our head, who we've been listening to in our head for the last couple of months, who, you know, and then, because at first our natural instinct is to try to cast that. Like I pictured this person like this. I need that person to be right here. And so it's hard to then open our mind and be like, no, let's see what else they can bring. And then like even like again, Spike Lee in his masterclass said about whenever you're doing the auditions, just to listen to the actors, not listen to necessarily the character, just listen to the actors and how they're saying your words, because even that changes. And you might either think, oh man, that line didn't work, or maybe I'm not working or something. Like it just changes. So just being open to possibility. And I know it's hard.
It's hard
because we get set in our ways.
Now, one of the last things that I do want to bring up as part of the being good enough conversation is body image. It's a huge thing, especially for actors, for Broadway actors. It's that competition, physical competition, that everyone feels like, you know, a chorus ensemble dancer looks a certain way. They have to look a certain way. They have to, you know, be in the gym at 4 a.m. before they even come to the audition. They have to maintain a certain weight. They have to have abs. They have to have this. You know what I mean? It's everybody. And it's like actors on screen too, right? Like I heard a story from, I think I heard it from my agent. But he was telling me about some other agent that he knew when he was working as an intern somewhere, that, you know, the clients would come in, the male clients would come in, and he'd ask the male clients to lift the shirt so he could see if the abs were tight. So he knew what to send them out for. And
it's
like,
true.
How awful.
It's true.
Right? How awful.
I mean, it's terrible.
And goodness knows, there have been plenty of like, women are too big. Like, if you're bigger than this, you're the funny girl. If you're skinnier than this, you're going to be, you know, that ugly stepsister. So it's like, there's not that in between yet. There's not yet. And I get, hard. When you're on Broadway and you're dancing and you're performing, you will inevitably lose weight because it is such a high performance, like high cardiovascular workout 8 times a week. So yeah, you will end up losing some weight. Like I remember a story by Melissa Jarrett Winokur when she did Hairspray. She was like, I was eating donuts every day because I could not keep the weight on me because I was supposed to be playing a fat girl. And I couldn't because I was dancing like crazy and I was losing weight. Yeah. But I still had to maintain this look.
That is true. Sucks. And it does suck. And I get it on the director side because specifically with shows and musicals, you do want someone that you know can be able to, like you said, have that stamina and have that energy. And so I guess where my line is as long as I see you can do it and that you can consistently do it, that you're not having to stop and take breaths and you know, and or you get weaker over time. Then it doesn't matter to me as long as you can do it. Because I know some people, that's just how they're built. They can't, that's just, they're fit as a fiddle, but they're just built bigger. Yeah. So to me, it's can you do the job that I'm hiring you to do? Right. And that's where it gets hard because, you know, even I was thinking about when it comes to cast, like I was thinking about the actor, you know, in the whole grand scheme of things of a production. And I was even saying to myself, man, it's kind of crazy that the actor is such not a small role because they're a poignant role, but they are in the grand scheme of things only one of so many other things, right? And so you can kind of marginalize an actor or materialize an actor because whenever you're thinking about all these other things, the actor is just a part of that. Yeah. You know, the actor is just on the same, you know, Excel sheet as props and costumes and lighting equipment and things like that. They're just on the same little sheet. So it's easy to just go, okay, yeah, the actor, I don't care. Let me see. Do you look good? Okay, you look good. You're fine for this part. Move on, you know, and forget about that humanity of okay, no, this is a person and I am casting a person. Right. And I get it. And I know specifically in the modeling industry, it gets even worse because they are very like, I'm doing a body commercial for Axe. I need the abs. I don't care. Let me see your abs. Nope. Yeah. Next, let me see your abs. Next, let me see your abs. Because they're only casting for that job. They don't give a flip about who you are, what you've done to get the abs, how you worked out, how you are trying to continue to get your body in shape. They don't care. They're trying to. And how still, even when you get the part, you're still so concerned about the way you look. I mean, even on cruise ships, if you go work on a cruise ship, they have like a 5 or 10 pound leeway. You cannot, like, they'll weigh you every week. You cannot gain more than 5 or 10 pounds. It'd be in your contract. Like, it's stuff that sticks with you, I think, as a person. And you know, you get a little kind of messed up by it sometimes. Yeah. And instead of making the choice to just be healthy and be your best self, you're trying to compete with the skinniest girl you saw today. And that's not always the best. That's not the best place to be. No. You know what I mean? No, that is not. And so for the actor who is listening, who has gone through that, who has that thought, who keeps dealing with this issue, I will have to say to you there is a role out there for you. And there is a director out there for you. Don't let these people bring you I mean, for me, when I was an actor, honestly, it was because I was Black, specifically at the time that I was in acting. Like, I had people tell me that my eyes were too dark, that my skin was too dark. I can't play this because I'm not what they're looking for. I'm not the type they're looking for. They would say, we're looking for an all-American girl. I'm was born in America.
You're like, who's more all-American than me? I built this country.
I mean, I was born here. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what you want from me.
I don't know what you want from me.
I can't get any more American.
I want the girl next door. Well, I've lived next door to a lot of people. I don't know what you want
That's
from me.
me. That's still me.
That's still me. So I get it. And it was hard. And I did go through a lot of self-doubt. I went through a lot of self-pity. Like, why am I black? I hate this. This would be so much easier if I was blonde and skinny with blue eyes. And, and I went through all that. I did. But at the end of the day, I had to sit there and think about, number one, I am proud of who I am. Be proud of who you are. Be happy about who you are. Just doesn't matter what you look like, as long as you are happy with yourself. And then from there, bring that confidence into every audition. And I'm not saying that every audition is going to be a slam dunk, because most of them aren't. People are still going to be shallow and annoying and rude. But you keep bringing yourself, and I swear to you, there will be someone casting that either wanted you from the first place or maybe didn't have you in mind, but then said, hey, well, man, I like they're bringing something that I want, and I want to hire them, and I want to work with them, period. And so don't let the haters hate. Don't let them bring you down.
Ultimately, there's as many stories as there are people, and there's even more than that. And there's always going to be a need for someone to tell a story. And if you want to tell it, tell it. Like, don't wait for someone to, teach you how to be good at Premiere Pro. Don't wait for someone to tell you need to lose 5 pounds. Don't wait. Like, things are changing, and they're never going to and they're never going to change unless we say, like, okay, we're done with that.
Yes.
And even if everyone else is not ready to hear it, you be the one leading the way. And it's hard,
it's
but
true.
do it.
You need to be the one. Actors along the way, every actor needs to get into this point of, I am no longer going to allow someone to subjectify me. Yep. I am going to bring myself, and if you don't like me, fine. But if every actor does that, and no actor succumbs to the pressure or succumbs to what they think the industry wants, then it is going to make the industry change. Because now they're like, oh man, these actors aren't listening to us. They're just doing whatever they're just bringing themselves. Well, I suppose we just cast themselves, and then it goes from there. And I get it. And I do get it on the other end of being desperate and needing a job and wanting to have this opportunity to be in shows and films and not have to go to your 9-to-5 job. But at the same time, everybody has done it. Yeah. Everybody has done it. And like me and Megan were talking about before, until the world values creatives, this is what we're going to have to do. And one day they will. One day they will value creatives just as much as they do the doctor, the office worker, the finance anybody, people. The finance people. They will value, and they will. It won't be just like, you're a hobby or something you can just throw away. They'll realize, like, no, this is my lifestyle. This is what I'm passionate about. And yeah. This is what I was born to do. This is what I'm born to do, yo. And do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Though things may not be changing in terms of like technology and how good we all have to be at it now, but there are other things changing. And so just keep your head up. We got this. We got this together. We love you.
Yes. We do.
Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Please like the podcast, subscribe, give us some stars.
Same thing with the YouTube channel. You know what to do. Go ahead and push that subscribe and the bell. And make sure you also go to our Patreon, which is
Patreon. Patreon.com/OneHen. Become a patron. Get some merch. Support us in this podcast. We're almost at the end of season 1, y'all. We got season 2 to plan.
Yes. And you are going to be so excited to see it. It's going to be awesome. It's even going to be better than season 1. Don't worry. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to hit you with some lives during our break. But you are not going to want to miss it. So definitely
don't miss it.
Subscribe to us.
Subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.